Top of the morning to you. Hope you're all fine and dandy and staying ahead of the game. Remember, it is a game and each one of us must play a part. So once again, I'm taking some of my Facebook posts here and putting them up onto YouTube for others to look at, peruse and digest. And this one was quite a while ago. This was last Christmas time, I think it must have been. And we were getting Andrew, Prince Andrew of the royal family, quite a lot on the news. And so this was a post that I put together because I was aware of what was going on in the heavens. And it's all stories in the heavens. But anyway, I'll read the post. And once again, I'll put images together so that people can help, so that I can help people understand it a bit better. So here we go. Thank you for joining me. All news is code. Once again, we are seeing stories of Prince Andrew all over the news and the media platforms. They push it. It's called the revelation of the method. The news isn't true, not as such, but rather it's all celestial code to teach us to look up to the heavenly heroes, the stars of the celestial north, as our ancestors did. The news stories are repeats of heavenly tales, and the royals and others in the limelight are simply impostors or actors replaying a recurring ancient celestial event. These events are all recorded on standing stones throughout the various hillside villages and towns of the British Isles, and surprisingly Fife and St Andrews and most of the east coast of Scotland has quite a few old tales of dragons and heroes who slayed them. It's all in the heavens around the North Celestial Pole, and on the rocks, the barrels and the mounds, and even the original physical shape of our lands. See my other post on Hercules, Tain, Inverness, on the physical shape of the north of Scotland. There's a stone in my a video on my opening page showing the stones of Hercules. Picture This, I believe it's called, and there's the links there. So what's going on with Nae Sweat Andy, man? Remember, this post was from last December. Prince Andrew Albert Christian Edward is playing the tales and tragedies of Marduk, George, St Andrew, Thor, son of Eden, Odin. It's all the same stories. And Thor and even Hercules, Marduk, are at times not always in good standing or favour with their peers. They are each banished from their lands. They take the heat for a time, often being utterly shamed in the process, just as the royal puppet, Andrew, has, time and time again. So why is the not-so-saintly Andrew in the news just now? No family time for Andrew this winter. Well, Hercules at this season, Christmas time, begins to descend down the celestial tree, the spine of Albion. And as he spirals down this helter-skelter, the 33 vertebrae, in an anti-clockwise fashion, he's losing grasp of the crown and sight of the crown, the royal crown, the corona borealis, as it too drops beneath him, just out of his reach. In the process of this falling, he is being exiled from the upper celestial realm. He is being exiled and overturned in the garden by the rising male serpent, the chi energy, the great dragon. Of course, that is Draco in the heavens, and we see this being played out in the heavens every year. But poor Hercules, He is too preoccupied. He's caught up in the materialism and entangled with emotions and desires. And this is exactly what we see at this time of the year. Materialism, Christmas, Nimrod, the Nimrod spirit, which is Orion. Nimrod's birthday, of course, is on the 25th of December, but Nimrod is Orion. But this is Hercules here, the hero. Orion is the rebel. Nim is a Gallic word which means heaven, and Rod is a rod, like the holy rod, the holy root. It's the rod, the spine of Albion. And at the top of the spine of Albion, you have this coil, this spiraling Hercules fighting the dragon. He's being exiled, overturned as he spirals out of the dragon, being pushed by the great dragon Draco. And poor Hercules, he's too preoccupied, he's too caught up and entangled with the emotions and the desires of this world. He's seen wrestling with the female energies, the Hydra, the multi-headed beast, some say the 10-headed beast system, which we can see in the heavens is sweeping him off his feet. This represents us. It's a journey of us. This is how our ancestors seen it at this time of year. We went within and not within the system of materialism. And that spiral, helter-skelter, is going within and challenging, taming the dragons within, and taming the beasts of materialism and wealth and fame and all the things that we focus on at Christmas time and that time of the year. The same stories are repeated time and time again. They just use different sub-characters throughout the year to twist up the stories a little, just for their chosen agenda. This time, in this story of Andrew, it's a Chinese spy called Yang Tengyabo. Probably not pronouncing that right, but it's the spelling that's important. This Yang Tengyabo, who the prince had apparent dealings with. This is quite an obvious broadcast for the masses. And for this time of year, they're telling us everything. It's revelation of method. Come on. It's their Christmas message to us. They're telling us, don't forget your evergreen tree, the celestial tree of the house of Cephas, your house. And remember and put that star or angel on top, the ones that fall. Don't forget that these royals are the fallen angels, stars. And they're imitating the upper celestial roles, the heroes. They replicate the heroes and the happenings of how the ancestors seen these heroes move up and down this celestial pole. Everything is happening around us in this great tree, like clockwork. Chi or ki or ka is energy, which flows through the great tree, the meridian tree, the body also, the chakras, and enters the top of our domes, your crown, your corona, and the pineal gland, the face, pineal, which means the face of El, the face of God. The supposed name of this double agent, two snakes on the pole, you see, the supposed name of this double agent, spy, Yang, too, is fairly obvious. It's an obvious code. Yang in Chinese philosophy is the active male principle of this universe and everything within it, characterized as the male and the creative force of heaven, associated with heaven and heat and light, heaven's dome, your brain, your head, and the 10 Sephiroth contained within the 3 levels of your brain, the reptilian Malkut level, the logical, emotional, physical level, and the upper spiritual level, creating the 10 Sephiroth. Also, the term or the name Tengyabo in this story can be broken down as it's a spell in English to us. English is the language of the angels. in Galish. Ish means man in the Hebraic tongue. Ish means man. Also the term or name Tengbo in this story can be broken down to represent the 10 kingdoms which are mentioned in the Bible's Revelation, chapter 13 and 17. If we take the letters 10G, Bo, 10G is the seventh, G is the seventh letter, G is the Masonic compass, giving you the square and the compass. So again, we're seeing, or the story is showing us the squaring of the heaven, just by Tengbo, the name. It's showing us Polaris and the circumpolar lights of heaven, once again. Bo, the word Tengbo, Bo is also a Hebraic term, a word which means to come. You would say to a dog, Bo, Bo, come, come. So the name they give us, Yang Tengbo, from Beijing, is code, again, all about the North Celestial Pole and everything that's happening there. And just in case we need any further confirmations, the asterism Corona Borealis is right there, next to Hercules, circling the North Celestial Pole. Come Israel. And I said this in a previous post. When this happened in the heavens a few years ago, Boris Johnson, Israel, Boris came into power as the president on the pole in the Whitechapel, Milky Way, Corona Borealis, and during his presidency, Prime Minister, or as the President, or the Prime Minister, he brought in Corona, or he was here when Corona came. Anyway, we are told this double agent, the two snakes on the pole, the Qi and the Yin and the Yang energy, is originally from Beijing, which means the north or the northern capital, from the Chinese character Bei for north and Jing for capital. This is also clearly a code for us to keep looking towards the North Celestial Pole at Christmas time and Polaris, because there is the capstone of creation. The story of Andrew here and this Chinese spy can't be any more obvious when you know the story of the heavens. We can see through all of their spells. A quote is recorded by a senior advisor in most online news reports. And the quote is, Mr. Hampshire also told Yang in a letter from a tree, anyway, in a letter, outside of the Prince Andrew's, closest internal confidants, you sit at the very top of a tree that many people would like to be on. Yes, we should be on it if we understood what it was. You sit at the very top of a tree. That tree is, of course, their cabal tree, overlaid over our tree, the real tree, the spine of Albion, which is the tree of life, which reaches up into the canopy of heaven, to the North Celestial Pole, to heaven's cube, and to Polaris, the gate of heaven. The Yang Qi energy flies heavenwards, upwards, and sits atop the meridian body, above the meridian tree, and also above us within Polaris. Whereas the Yin energy is not so. It's not of the upper mind, of the upper world, of Polaris, but it is of the lower realm, of a lower spark, and a lower celestial realm, known as the underworld, darkness, negativity, and not light. This is the deception that they play in our news, reflecting the truth, filling our heads with fear and misinterpretations of what's happening in the heavens, as above, so below. This electromagnetic energy, the yin and yang energies, is what the St. Andrew's flag, or the white cross on an azure background, is all about. This is what it represents. St. Andrew's crucified represents the lightning, the light coming down, and that of Hercules slaying the dragon. It represents the electromagnetic charge in the ecliptic, which crosses up through the rebel Orion, through the Taurus fields, up into the celestial pole Polaris. And as for Andrew's title, a prince is a Tsar, a Kaiser, a Caesar, a Kaiser, a Tsar, a star of the heavenly realms. And all news and all the folks in that news stories are pointing us to the heavenly realms. Most news stories point us to the stars of Hercules, the protector of heaven, the constellations of Draco wrestling, the snake of this beast system, the Hydra. And Hercules is the story that we all know of St. George, St. Andrew, Thor, Marduk, Arthur, all the same being, which along with the corona borealis in the heavens, the crown, circles the centre of heaven itself, Eden, Odin's eye, that gate of Polaris.